This is a short one like me. Dudes with Brews on the Porch presents Michael Brews.
Dude. Craft brews and casual conversations. Join with me. Do I say the first radio mentor I ever had in my life? Do I say one of my radio just heroes, icons? I don't know if you know Todd Deering, Bart, but Todd's up there too. So you gotta kind of battle for that spot. But Bart Winkler of the all new and awesome Bart Winkler Show podcast.
Can Todd? He's got a company. Can he get me a job?
He does stuff in overseas.
I just saw. Was it LinkedIn? I just saw something where it's like, hey, your local staff in Britain. It's like in Birmingham.
Right. Yeah. It's he's a part of it. He's a part of it. He does work some magic somehow. But it's good to see you again. You're drinking some beer. I'm drinking, and I don't think I've ever had this on the show, which is a surprise, but have you ever heard of Foggy Geezer by War Pigs?
Those are like 9 words I've never thought would ever be together.
Oh, it's delicious. It's just a good IPA. It's one of my favorite IPAs. I just turned 32, Bart, last week, and I bought this because I felt like I am a geezer now.
Well, wait till I'm 38 going on 55. Like my body from 32 to where I'm at 38 is very bad.
Yeah.
And I thought it was bad at 32, but it's like the way I really ballooned out in the gut.
I hear you.
I'm definitely at max capacity. I've never weighed this much.
Yeah, I've been there.
Nothing fits. I just went and bought a new wardrobe. Made sure I signed up for Kohl's Cash that night, so I got like 80% off.
I've been there. I'm not at the heaviest I've ever been at, thankfully. I'm still about 40 pounds below my heaviest. But wow. I can still run a half marathon.
Yeah, you're like running and stuff.
But I'm still fat. It doesn't
But you're
make
probably
sense.
in shape.
I got a gut still. I still got the gut.
Well, my kid likes to dance to Hot Dog, Hot Diggity Dog.
Oh yeah.
I can't make the whole song anymore. It's like 90 seconds.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So the last time you were on the show, you were talking about you were debating about whether or not you should have a child, and well, you've confirmed one was created. It's yours.
Yeah,
that's great. You like it? You like being a dad?
I do. He's 3 years old. He is. I mean, obviously, you know how you feel about your own kids. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
And this kid's so cute and so great, and he does so many cool things. It's like, how are you? How do I get to be your dad? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then so what I think about a lot is that I have this little guy who's my whole world. Like start to finish, my world revolves around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about my parents, and like I call them once a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this kid. So do the parents eventually just be like, screw this?
They might. I have that too. My daughter, she's a teenager. She's almost 14. And now she's getting to the point where dad's not cool enough. Friends are more important and more of a priority. And it breaks my heart. And it's like, I did the exact same thing to my parents. And, I don't feel bad about it for my parents because I had fun with my friends, but I want my daughter to feel bad about it because it's me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But anyways, you're drinking a beer as well, and you said you got a solid backstory with it.
So this beer is brand new. There's a website called Cheesehead TV.
Yep.
They're a Packer fan site, blog,
yeah.
media empire.
Brian Caribou used to be on that?
Brian Caribou, used to be on that. And I've always liked him. And then the guys that ran it, like Aaron Nagler and Corey Banky are the two guys. And Aaron used to be on my radio show.
Okay.
But then he went to a different station. We kind of had a little bit of falling out. And I was always jealous of Cheesehead TV because I tried to do what they were doing. But I described, when I started a blog in like 2005, I'm like, this is how I want it to be. Boom, it was already there, Cheesehead TV. And then I got to know one of the guys, but the other guy just like trolled on the internet. So they had an event in Milwaukee, like blocks from my house, to launch their beer. They have a beer. And so I had to go, and I, talked to Aaron Nagler, and he'll come on my show eventually, and you will too, the Bart Winkler Show. I'm one of these wherever you get your podcast guys now.
Good.
But then, I talked to Nagler, and it was great. And then the other guy like looked at me as if I'm the devil, because I've trolled him so much. But they have a beer. It's called Carry the G.
Okay. That looks sweet.
So it's a phrase. It's a phrase that Rogers said it recently. How you got to carry the G if you're a Packer. You got to carry the G. And they came out with a Carry the G beer, and it's a cream ale, but it's very good. It tastes the way when I hold it and look at the green and gold and taste it. To me, it tastes like a picture of the 1980s, a Packer game where people are wearing the throwback old, like double striped socks at the Pack. It just there's something familiar to it, and there's something very, very good. So it's a good beer. I'm surprised actually how good it is. This place just slaps together a beer, but it's legit. It's very good. They've done great with it, and I hope that one day they give me half the respect that I'm giving them right now with their beer. Carry the G.
You could have like the Winks IPA or something like that.
Yeah, I could. I mean, it would be clearly copying their idea.
Oh, they could make it, couldn't they? Team up.
I don't think we're friends
Oh.
to that level yet. No.
Bummer.
The one guy hates me. What am I supposed to do?
Aren't you used to that now these days though? You used to receive quite a bit of hate. But the new podcast seems to be picking up a lot of positive traction. I've been a listener. One of I forget what the dude's name. You got Tim Shea, and you have who's the other
Toby
guy?
Altizer, Ryan Horvat.
I think it's Toby. He kind of sounds like Mark Norman. You know who Mark Norman is?
No.
He's a stand-up comedian, and he kind of has a similar cadence. Every time I hear him, that's what I think about. But it's a good show. I mean, you pretty much live, breathe sports.
Yeah, I mean Packers, Brewers, Bucks, Badgers, all the Wisconsin, and everything else. Any NFL game. I told my wife, I misheard my wife yesterday, and my answer to her was, "Oh, outside of you and my son, the NFL is everything to me. I would do I am completely obsessed with it. I care about it more. I need it. If it ever went away." And she was saying, because there was a commercial about a London game, and she was saying, well, why do people in England care so much about the NFL? And I heard, how much do you, I don't know. I was like very defensive that she didn't question my love for it. So what I did was I had a show in Milwaukee with other people, but then by myself. And then, we brought in some producers, but I've been a part of a morning show, sports in Milwaukee, for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And as in radio, what happens is sometimes stations are there one day and then they're not the next.
Right.
And there's 2 other sports stations in town, and they're not really talking sports.
No.
Like it's weird in sports radio. Sports radio, you want to have fun, you want to laugh. People bring up quirky things, of course. But some of the other stations that are available for people in the Milwaukee area, it's like the sports is the secondary. So I'm basically doing my show that I was doing.
Yep.
But instead of the 4 hours, I'm just doing 1 hour. It's so the pros are I can tape in advance, I can put it out when I want, I can hyper edit, I can get a lot of people, I can do a lot of stuff. I don't have to ask someone to come on in the morning. I can ask them to come on, when they're free. The con is I should be looking for a job.
Yeah, I mean, my intro to radio obviously was through the internship at the now dissolved. It's been dissolved for a long time. K107. Back in the day, it's now something else. I'm always reminded.
Won the bowl.
I'm always reminded on my birthday about. I remember how long it was because they dumped me on my birthday without me even knowing. So I didn't even get the courtesy of being taken into a room and saying you're no longer on the air. I found out on Facebook, and then when I went on the on-air talent underneath the website, my name wasn't there, and I was like, oh, okay. So I've been in.
Wait, when they switched to country?
Yeah, when they went to a country station.
They just didn't bring you along?
They didn't bring me along. And it was on my birthday that they announced.
Are you sure like they didn't like they forgot and you just had to
No,
call or
they didn't tell me at all. And they made it a point not to tell me. I was filling in because you had left. I was filling in for Alex.
Oh.
I was filling in for Alex because Alex was filling in for you. I was getting paid like $5 an hour. And then when they made the switch, I was out. They didn't even tell me. And I was like, okay. But, it is what it is. So I know you from a different type of radio. So you come now 6 years in a talk capacity. Is it hard for you to condense it down to an hour, or does it make your life a little easier?
Well, when I was with you, we were doing, a
1
music
minute.
morning radio show.
Right.
And then the days that you would come in with me, you'd be like the co-host.
Yeah.
The wacky sidekick. And I do think of that time a lot because there's the radio that we did in Fond du Lac. We had the opportunity to like just mess around,
Right.
and figure stuff out. And there's a lot of stuff that, I think about that. If I would do that show again today, there'd be so much I would do different.
Mhm.
I had interviews that went on too long. I had things that, I would condense it, and I would, we like to play everybody's requests. That was probably out of bounds. We were playing some random stuff we were playing. So I loved it for the time. If I did it now, I would do it differently. But I do think of, all those times because it did help me figure out a long form talk format.
Mm.
I still like to do the podcast that I do. I still like to try to do it with a live aspect.
Right.
So I talked about editing a little bit, but that's just after the fact that there's something I, didn't like. I like to, after a Packer game, what I've been doing is going on live and then throwing the link out there and seeing who will join me. And I get one or two of my co-hosts, and then I'll put a link out, or I have a phone number where people can call. And if people are calling, I'm putting them on. If people want to jump in this room I have, I take them. So I do like the live component of it, because that's another thing that people do miss, is the interaction that the show that we provided. So to go from 4 hours to one, it's great.
Mm.
Because you can pass it off as a show, and because I did a 4-hour show, but who listened for all 4 hours? There
Right.
were some, and some people might have it on in their office, but I'm thinking more of a 40-minute commute
Right.
in the Milwaukee area, if it's that long. So that's the show I'm trying to do. Just put up 40 minutes, sports talk. If your commute's a little shorter, you get the back half on the way home, and that's what I'm trying to do.
But with what you're saying, with going live, having a phone number and having that live aspect, not a lot of podcasts do that. I don't think. Really, it's pre-recorded stuff, and they'll set up a phone line, like you said, and just take like a call and answer a question or something. Whereas you're really bringing what I love about radio into the podcast world, which I think is pretty unique, and I think it's pretty.
Well,
awesome.
yeah, so I'm trying. I do have I have a phone mail or a voicemail phone number that I do like. So on the Tuesday episode of this week, I had one of my guys on, Toby Altizer, and we were playing voicemails and reacting to them. While one of the voicemails was playing, because I just play them off my phone for audio, I just stick it up to the mic. And while I was playing a voicemail, I was getting another call into the voicemail line, at which point I can just answer it.
Sure.
Because I just set up a Google Voice. It's incredible. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And so then I just took the call on the air, and I tell the person quick, hey, you're on the air. And then I just talk to him, and it'll air the next day. So it's not live necessarily for them, but it's still a live component to it. And
yeah,
I had another guy, Tim Shea, who was at a bar. So then we started talking to the bartender a little bit about the game. I always like to do that in radio. I think that a lot of people in radio, there's a line and you stay within the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to stay within the line, but the margin, like the NFL where the yard markers are.
Yeah.
In college, they're further apart.
Sure.
So my yard markers are further apart. I think there are more things that are in bounds in radio, but if you're a traditionalist or you're scared, you might think some of those things are out of bounds, and they're still to me in the field of play. It's just I like to give more space to play around with. I don't want to sound too like I know everything about radio, because again, I don't have a job right now.
That has nothing to do with your talent, though. Like you've been in radio for a long time across several different formats. Like now, I'm still on the radio. I'm on the rock, and then but it's the same. It's music format. I do 1 minute to 1.5 minute breaks tops. I don't do.
I was gonna do games for you guys this fall.
Were you? You didn't?
Yeah, to get up there and back.
Yeah, it's. But yeah. Anytime you want to do that, they'll hook you up for sure. I've been trying to get into the sports world, Bart. I've been telling them, yo, teach me how to do some play-by-play. I'm in. I'd love to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I get to like pretend to be John Madden or something, even though I thought he was annoying. Who's your favorite announcer or least favorite?
I hated Tom Brenneman, and then he screwed up, so he's gone. Yeah. Who do I really hate?
Joe Buck. I really hate Joe Buck and Troy.
Well, no, I don't mind those guys.
Really? I mean, we don't see them as much anymore this year. Thankfully, I can't stand them.
I really like Iron Eagle. He's on CBS.
Okay.
I really like Kevin Harlan.
Yeah. I like Romo.
There's somebody that I really despise, and I can't think of him right now.
Collinsworth?
No, I mean his kid sucks.
Do you ever get tired of talking about sports, or do you just wish you could talk about it every day? Well, you do, but you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, I get tired like you would at any job. Like the last show I did was a Friday, and we didn't know what was coming. But the last show I did was a Friday, and I just wanted to go home. And I think the last words I said on the radio were, "Thank God it's 10 o'clock. Get me the hell out of here." Then I never came back.
Those are words to go out on, though. Like I think that's a pretty good moment for.
But no, I love sports. I think I get tired. It's not that I get tired. Sometimes I get overstimulated.
Yeah.
Like if a big play happens,
mm-hmm.
I'm trying to like follow it on my own for Twitter, and maybe I want to put out a tweet. But I've also got 9 friends texting me.
Sure.
And then my dad texted me, which is great, but he always sends the same text. He's always mad about the refs.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. He's become one of those guys. It's just, the refs.
Even when I listen to your podcast, and I'm listening to, you and your co-host talk, I'm like, geez, like these guys are analytical. Like they really know the ins and outs of the games. And like, I watch it and, I get yelled at a lot because I always say, if something happens with the other team, I always go into an elaborate story on how I want him to, like walk in on his wife cheating on him, and he goes into a Great Depression, and it ruins his football career. And
oh wow,
no, I always say knee him in the ribs. I always want somebody to knee somebody in the ribs. So when
it's great because it's like it's second nature to me almost.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
I don't have to think about it. I watch it and I know.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm trying to learn this other stuff, it's hard to learn. And when I'm watching sports, I just through osmosis, I can tell you everything that happened in every game over the weekend. And I can't it's weird because when I try to read any book about anything, I have to read the page 5 times for me to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
But sports, it's just I pick it all up. But that's because I like it. And also, I constantly have money on it.
Oh, yeah. Are you still in the gambling world?
I'm in the DraftKings and FanDuel world. I like that. I won't straight gamble right now because I got in some trouble on offshore betting.
Oh, jeez.
They have it's fun to bet on sports, but then they're like, hey, come play blackjack. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's
I don't understand the spread either. So when people are talking about the spread, like I get like they have to clear, all the Packers like 9.5 points. So essentially, whoever they're playing, they have a 9.5 point advantage. So the Packers have to beat them by 10, right, in order for you to be successful, even if they lose.
Yeah, it's like a handicap in bowling or golf. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've done the DraftKings before, but it's been a couple of years and I wasn't really successful in it. I do fantasy football every year, $100 leagues, and that's I can understand a little bit more. But no, it's impressive to hear the knowledge that you and your co-host have. I wish I could have that, but I don't know what I have knowledge in. It's not sports. Not even beer.
What do you think you know the most about?
I have a lot of random information about goats, various breeds of goats, because I grew up with them, and that was forced in my into my life. So not
I know
by
a lot about
choice.
like TV and TV scheduling and radio and.
I mean, the radio stuff, it's easy for like because it's like top of the hour local stuff. I got 2 sponsored breaks throughout the whole show, and then the rest of it, it's like I talk about whatever the heck I want to talk about, whether it's from the same prep service that everybody in the state of Wisconsin uses, or I find some random shit. But I don't even know if people listen, to be honest. Hopefully,
Can I be on there?
Yeah, you want to be on my show?
Can you do like 1 minute hits with me?
Yeah, for sure. I can do that.
Can I buy free ads?
I don't know about that. I don't know about.
Can I sponsor a segment?
Yeah, you can sponsor a segment. The Bart Winkler Show. Listen
Bart
to
Winkler
it.
Show's Packer Rewind on Mondays.
Yeah, we could do that. I could give you a shameless plug on there for sure. You're a local
There's
legend
gotta be
here.
somebody I'm connected with in Fond du Lac that'll pay $30 a week for me to promote my podcast.
Somebody would. So what is your ambitions with the podcast? Is it just kind of filling a void for the time being? If you were to land in a position where you're full time, are you able to maintain this once a day podcast of 40 minutes or more?
We'll see. I would love to keep doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I would love for the podcast to be my job.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would take a heroic effort, and I would really have to. I was looking at some of my analytics over the first 2 weeks and doing very good in Milwaukee. People know about me. People know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the state is such an untapped market. And it's a matter of how do I reach there? Because Milwaukee, my name's been in the radio for 6 to 10 years.
Right.
But the rest of the state, it really hasn't. So how do I figure that out? Even if it's just like a second hobby kind of thing or a second kind of source of income would be great. Then I need a real job. I kind of want to be in like media, PR sort of.
Yeah.
Like if I could work for a hospital.
Sure.
Where I was like the media liaison.
Yeah.
And I set up stories and helped doctors speak in front of a camera and made, $50,000 a year to sit on my thumb and do my podcast in my office.
Yeah, that'd be killer.
That would be great.
I don't like that's one thing, even with like a radio background, I don't know how to market a podcast. I've got listeners.
I'm only using all I can do is my social media, and thank God I have somewhat of a following at Winks Thinks on Twitter.
I see my personal Twitter account. I think I have like 300 followers, but the podcast I think we have like close to 3,000, which is decent for me, I think. And for a guy that's started with nothing and went in, I mean, I get good enough listeners. I've been around for 5 years with the podcast, but for what worth, I don't know. I just do it because I love doing it. But to make it a job or to make it a side hustle is it's the confusing part. How the fuck did Joe Rogan do it?
Well, he was like first.
Yeah. And that's the problem too, is you're competing with all these people that already, a lot of famous people. I have a podcast where I just talk to people about random shit. You know how many of those exist? A lot. So
well, the reason I thought it would be somewhat okay to do is people know how to listen to me on a phone.
Sure.
And there are people that I wouldn't do it if I was starting from nothing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a place where I have an audience built in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now it's about growing that.
I think you can do it. I think it's possible. If anything, like you could be the next on Sirius Radio one day. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, I've hosted shows on Sirius before.
Have you really?
Drew. Oh yeah, CBS Sports Radio. I've filled in national shows.
That's awesome. You got the creds. You got the ability. I get to talk about Volbeat.
That's the problem I have. I can market a podcast. I can't market myself.
Yeah.
I'm like dicking around on LinkedIn and like, what do I do? How do I? Because I've got so many skills and talents.
Yeah.
But how do I show them off when they're so like? My talents are being good on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't be like, well, quarter to quarter, I increased revenue 5.8% on our RGUs.
Yeah, I mean, when you
RGU slang for revenue growth unit. That was the thing we called phone, internet, and TV when I worked at Charter.
oh, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm really no different. My freaking resume is so everywhere. I go from retail to radio full time to warehousing to a fucking cheese factory to being a teacher. Do you know I was a teacher?
No.
You didn't?
Where are you teaching?
The high school.
Doing what?
I'm a special ed teacher.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I did know that.
Yeah, I'll have my master's in it in January.
Yeah, maybe I did know that.
It's enjoyable. I work with people who educated me as a youth.
How do you I don't know if I could work in a school.
I like it. I think you could. Maybe.
I'd be worried.
Athletic director. That's something you could do.
I'd be worried about
Sure.
Bang Bang.
Oh, yeah, that is a genuine concern. It is pretty terrifying, actually, and is in the back of my mind every once in a while. So, yeah, but all right. So you got the podcast. Let's plug it a little bit. Let's talk about it. Or how can people listen to it? Obviously, if you're in Wisconsin, this is really it's not just geared toward people in Wisconsin. Geared towards people who are fans of Bucks, Brewers, Packers.
I mean, it is pretty. If you're not in Wisconsin, you're like, well, screw this.
There's plenty of people. The Packers are huge in Alaska. A lot of people in the state of Alaska are big Packer fans, and
yeah, I'm pretty okay. So if you're okay. If you're looking for a Packer show, because one of the things that we did have a lot of listeners at the radio station from all over the country,
mm-hmm.
and I think so. The station went bye-bye in mid-August, and I didn't really have a hard day until the day after Labor Day, because that would have been the start of the football season, and
Sure.
that's when all the seasonal listeners came back.
Sure.
And so I've already sat on it for 3 weeks, and then people are like, "Hey, what the hell?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it was like going through it all over again.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine what that's like. I'm sorry that happened to you, and it's unfortunate, but I think better things are ahead for you. And one day you're going to be so famous that when I text you, you're just going to say, "Fuck off." I hope.
I already thought I reached that level of fame, like accordingly.
Yeah.
Between where I am in my life and where you are in yours.
Right. Pretty close.
I mean, I'm a hot shot in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I'm a G-level celebrity.
I'm a nobody in the middle of nowhere. So
You're a nobody in your own classroom, Drew.
you're right. No, I got some respect. People like me.
Good. Yeah, good.
Yeah. But how can they listen to you, and how can they get in touch with you? How can they call you? All that good stuff.
All right, so we're on Apple, Spotify, Google. I don't know where else. I don't keep track. I didn't set that up.
That's nice.
I'm with the Blue Wire Network, which is great because it's a podcast network that has a lot of shows like mine that focus on a specific team or sport. And because I want to do a podcast, but I don't know how to send a feed to Apple.
Sure, I do.
I don't know how to make my own artwork.
Yeah.
So they've been doing all that stuff for me, and it's been awesome. So I just know that I was on Apple and Spotify, and normally if you're on there for like 2 days and you get numbers, all the other podcast places are like, we'll take it.
Yeah, they pretty much just grab from the Apple feed. That's really like the main hub, if anything. They looking for a podcast about people who drink beer, and then but that's a gimmick and they just talk?
I'm not sure. I'm just checking. I was up to on the Spotify playlist for top sports shows last week. At one point, I was 25.
That's amazing. That's great.
No, I'm not even in the top 50.
Whatever. You were on it for a week. That's an accomplishment. Well, congratulations to you. But yeah,
it's called the Bart Winkler Show. Look for it. I'm busting my ass.
Good. Well, I hope the next time we talk, you're one, gainfully employed one way or another, and two, still rocking all the great podcasts and the great life that you live. How was your beer?
Oh, it's about halfway done. I actually was going to make a Captain and Coke,
Yeah.
but I remembered we drink beer on here, so.
Are you so Captain Coke? Are you do you like old fashions? Like, we're being a Wisconsin guy. Yeah, I've kind of slowly grown into the old fashions. I don't know how to make them, but I'll order them and I'll take them. But one day,
I'll drink any liquor besides tequila.
yeah. I don't like most liquor, but I have a thing of vodka, and sometimes if I have orange juice, I'll put some vodka in there.
Gin and tonic's become a real recent favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gin and tonic, huh? Is that what you're watching like game day? What are you drinking? What are you eating?
Well, I kind of have a drinking problem.
Okay.
So,
well, you just made
during
it
the
sad.
day, I don't really drink.
That's good.
And then from like 9 to 10, I have 7 Captains.
Okay. Well, at least
And
it's
then
condensed.
I go night-night.
Hey, it's a sleep aid, if anything.
Yeah, but I also smell and I snore.
Oh God. All right. Well,
I suck.
on that no. On that note, the beer's good. I'll try to find it someday. Foggy Geezer, if you ever want it, it is delicious. If you like IPAs, it is one of the best. Listen to the Bart Winkler Show, where it's a little more uplifting, unless maybe the Packers lose. Is that
Thanks.
a good? All right.
Pew pew audio. Goodbye, everyone.